Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome in the sewing room, everybody. I'm so glad y'all are here. I've been on a little trip. I have. And all trips need to go to a fabric store, a local quilt shop. Yeah, we did. I did. We did. I took you with me. You get to see all that here in just a little bit. We had so much fun. Yes, we did. We met so many lovely, lovely people there. Just lovely people. And I have a stack of goodness and a stack of pre-cuts, a stack of fat quarters, some fun things, some really fun things, and some new patterns and things. Yes, yes, yes. I bought several things for us to play with. I bought us some new toys. Yay, new toys. New toys. So, first I'm going to start with the patterns because they're laying right here in front of me. I saw this little bag down there. They had it made up, this clam up, one of these by Annie patterns. I love her patterns. She's got so many just bags of various and sundry kinds, backpacks, purses, just little bags of various kinds. This one's a little zipper pouch. I thought, you know what? I need a new little makeup pouch, so, why not make us one, right? Yes, let's make us one. So I got this pattern. So that's coming soon. And I was in Nashville. Yes, I was. Music City, USA, the capital of the great state of Tennessee, in which I live. I was in Nashville. And I thought, I'm going to Google and see quilt shops. Well, I looked, and there were 3 or 4 that came up kind of at the top. And, you kind of look on them to see kind of what they have. Well, I saw this one, and I thought, oh, my. This one will have everything under the sun. It needs to be stop number 1. And I knew exactly where it was. I knew how to get there. I had just been to that area the night before to eat dinner. It was literally like right there. One of Andy's doctors, it's literally like the block right behind his doctor's office. I mean, right there is where it was. And I'm like, how did I not know you existed all these years? But I didn't. I'm not sure how long they've been open or anything, but it was huge. It was huge. And I walked in and I went, oh my, where do I begin? Where do I start? So up at the front, and I'll take you all through, and I'm going to do voiceover for all of this because I didn't take a mic with me or anything. I just happened to have the camera. So I'll take you all on the tour of the shop. I will, and I'll tell you all about it. And I'm going to show you a few more things I bought, and then I'll finish up what I purchased and where it's going after I show you all the video of our shop, because that shop was amazing. And yes, you can order online. Yes, they have a website. Their prices were phenomenal. I mean, yes, excellent, excellent prices on all of their fabrics. There were a few things that I noticed. Their boutiques, they didn't have quite as many as I figured they would for a shop the size that they were. They had some boutiques, but not like I figured they would. That selection was not as large as I would have thought for a shop the size that I was in. They had things displayed beautifully. They're cutting. I'm not a fan of torn fabric and they tear their fabric. Yeah, I'm not. I think it stresses the fabric on each side and you lose, 1/4 of an inch or so on each side of that. So I didn't see if they were measuring a little bit long because I bought so many. I was just trying to keep them sorted for them so they would know how much I wanted of each one. So with all that being said, they snip and rip. That's what I call it. They snip and rip the fabric, which, like I said, I'm not a big fan of doing that just because it stresses the fabric. So you kind of have to cut it all off and even it up and so forth when you get it home. And I don't like to have to do that. But their prices are such that, yeah, I guess I can work just a little bit to save a ton of money. And I did.
Brentwood, Tennessee, which is just a suburb of Nashville. We were downtown Nashville. It took me about 10 minutes to get there, so it's not far. It's a huge store. The first thing you see to your right when you come in are fat quarters, and they are $3.50 a piece. And I pick out a few fat quarters to start with. You can see they've got them organized by colors, like there's blacks, the purples, the blues, the whites, and so forth. And down at the bottom are like pre-cuts, your 10-inch squares, and then over on the side you'll see in a minute where they have like their 5-inch squares and their jelly rolls and that kind of thing. That one someone had just left laying out there. So I love black and whites, and so I thought I'll get a few of these to add to my black and white stash. See, folded fat quarters, $3.50 a piece. The prices were very visible on just about everything. Nothing did you really have to look for to see a price. Just about everything had a price. There's my Alice's quilt. That's what I came to look for. And I did just about finish that one up while I was in there. I think there's one or two that I do not have, and I may just swap some things around. But these fat quarters here were just $1 a piece. I don't think I purchased any of these, but they're just closeout fat quarters for $1 each. Really good deal if you need those colors. They were just not anything that I really needed at the time. And then I'm not sure what this is. This is the remnants, the start of the remnants here. And you can see everything is very nice and labeled. That was a cute print, the flamingos. They had all kinds of things. That one I think I did. I went ahead and purchased that one. I think it was $5. Some things I put in the buggy and then I took out as I went along. But y'all can see what the tags say there. They're not, this stuff was not expensive, you all. And I did love those pineapples there. I thought they were really pretty. And like I said, some I picked up and then some I put back in the end. You have a budget, and we don't like budgets, do we? Especially when we're in a fabric store, a fabric superstore. Actually, over there's some more remnants. These are some larger pieces of remnants. And on the back side of this, I think it's where they had the reduced quilt kits. That was a pretty piece. There's one, and I did buy that one. That we're going to cut out some of those for our bunny, our hip hop bunny collage quilt. And of course, there's always a piece you regret not getting, and that is one of them, the dragonflies and butterflies there. I do kind of regret not picking that one up. But I elected to put that one back. And they tell you don't try to put things back just to bring them to the front, and they will restock whatever you decide against. That piece was so pretty. It was $5 a yard. There was 5 yards in that. But I wasn't real sure what I was going to be able to do with that. So in the end, I did return that piece. But I love the fact you have a buggy that you can fill up with all of your treasures. And here are more remnants. I really loved all of the remnants, the way they had them fixed. They were all in plastic, little baggies and so forth, and you could pick and choose. That one's really pretty. It's a Michael Miller print. And see there, it's got several different yellows in that particular bundle of fabrics. Some of these were bundled together. There's some more that were real pretty, like $10 or $12 for, I'm not sure how many yards were on there, but they are all bundles here. There's some Hanukkah prints, and just, just some bundles of prints here. Up through here's more fat quarters. I just kind of went around the bin here. Some whites, some light blues, some reds. And then here are some. I really thought about getting this here for Mr. Andy, but I just decided I would wait and possibly order that later. I wasn't sure exactly what to do with it. There's a whole big fat quarter bundle of that particular fabric that would make such a cute quilt for him. So I did get close-ups of it so I can, jog my memory watching this, so I'll know what I saw that I really liked. And here are the quilt kits. They're also up at the front of the store. There's one that's really cute for Christmas with candy canes. I think that was a Riley Blake, Lori Holt, if I'm not mistaken. They come in these nice boxes. I loved the boxes. And then up there, just some quilts that were hanging. I thought were very pretty. These are all your pre-cuts and things like that up through here. And of course, we're in Nashville. You've got to see the boot scooting quilt. Boot scooting boogie, it says. So, of course they have to have that. And then here are more just pre-cuts, your jelly rolls and your charm packs and your mini charm packs and your fat quarter bundles and things like that. There's Free Spirit Tula Pink, her newest one. That's the 5-inch charms there. I think $17.95. Their prices on this are about equal to what most places have their pre-cuts. I think you probably have to price them according to what they're told. There's Tilda pre-cuts right there in that little basket. As you can tell, I have not even gone toward the back of the store yet to see even the bolts of fabric. Over there's the Christmas section. You all, I was so overwhelmed when I got in there. But here's Christmas. That's the new Christmas there. I bought a couple Christmas prints that are just plaids that can be used year-round. I'm just not in the mood to buy Christmas just yet. Here are jelly roll strips in a package. Had all kinds. This whole little bin here was just jelly roll strips, 2.5-inch strips. Just various ones. You just could pick and choose kind of the colors or whatever that you thought you might like. I did pick out one of these. I'm not sure which one I got, but I did pick out one thing of the jelly roll strips. I guess that's the one I chose. These are last chance fabrics. These are, I'm sure, discontinued. There's probably remnants, just small pieces of things that they had left that they can no longer get. Maybe some collections of sorts. Kind of tells you what all's in it. It makes it easy to see. They also had, and I didn't film, they had like a scrap station. I'm not exactly sure how that worked, but they had scraps. You could go in and maybe fill you a little Ziploc baggie with scraps for a certain amount. I'm not exactly sure, but I didn't do that. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. I just didn't have the time, you all. This place was huge. And I just filmed snippets in here with you all. I did not film the whole entire store because there was just not enough time. These are the Christmas prints. It says Select Collections, $8 a yard. Most of the fabrics here were $8 a yard. There were some more expensive, and there were a lot of $5 a yard fabrics as well. But most of these were $8 a yard. There were just a handful of collections that were more than that. But this right here is all the Christmas. I had these cute little Christmas, vintage Christmas things up here. I thought were so cute. There was something for the kitchen. It's a Riley Blake. I just loved that. No, I didn't buy any because I really did not need it. It may be something I get later. I may go back to get that. But look at these little vintage campers. Isn't that precious on the pink with the green and the Christmas trees? But I just loved that. And all of this down through here. Those colors I really like. There's one that's got recipes on it. Y'all, it's overwhelming. And I talked to some other ladies there that were also saying this place is just overwhelming with the amount of fabric and deals that they have. It was just kind of unbelievable. I think that's Hometown by Riley Blake. Lori Holt, I believe, is that collection. I'm not sure. But all this in here, you could see that was Riley Blake there. And there were some fat quarters cut up there if you wanted fat quarters of these particular fabrics. There were some pre-cuts. And there are the plaids that I got because they were $8 a yard. I got half-yard pieces of a couple of those. I got the red because it can be used year-round. I just thought, that could be used for picnic stuff in the summer, and it just looked summery. But as you could see, there were some more. I just got a couple of pieces. I really would like to have gotten more. That's just old-timey looking toys. Look at that. The old vintage look, Christmas card looks. I know, isn't it pretty? And then there's some wide backs over against the wall. They did not have as many wide backs as I anticipated they would have. But they had a fair amount, and we're starting down the boutique wall right here. There's finishing up the wide backs, and here starts the boutiques. Most of these were $5 a yard, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of these were $5 a yard. Of course, I think that's still wide backs. And this was wide backs as well. Here are more fat quarters. They had these little bins scattered throughout. Those were flannel, but they did have little bins scattered throughout the store with fat quarters for you to pick and choose from particular prints. Now we're starting down just the rows and rows and aisles of bolts of fabric. And like I said, some were $5, some were $8. I think I bought one piece that was more than an $8 a yard fabric. That one there I already had picked for our Alice's Wonderland quilt, but I picked up another piece of it. Here are boutiques. Love all of the boutiques. And there's the one that I got for the kitchen because I just thought, how cute is that to make towel toppers. Y'all, I didn't even get a chance to really look at all of them. They were so pretty. There's pinks and purples and there's reds. And there's another one I chose they were $5 a yard, y'all. You just cannot pass that up. That's such good deals. There's another piece I chose for Alice's quilt. As you can see, I'm just kind of going down through here hurriedly, kind of browsing, looking quickly to see if there's something that jumps out at me that says, you need to take me home because I need to go in something. And that's kind of what I was doing. I put some back and I took some out, and I think that's a piece that I did get, and it was probably, I think, $5 a yard, you all. Just so much. And there's some purples. I love the way they have them organized by color. And there's more batiks on the other wall as you're coming down this aisle. There's your yellows, your greens, your pastels. And then they had empty shelves where I'm sure they've probably sold all of it or probably made room for new merchandise coming in. I love yellow, but I didn't purchase any yellow batiks this trip. But they just have so many pretty things, just so many. This is one that I really thought was pretty, all the different colors in it. And as we continue on, here are some boxes, storage boxes, gift boxes of sorts if you have things you want to gift to someone. Look at that one, looks like a little house. Plain ones, lots of little storage containers. Over here, I think these might have been flannels, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm going to turn on some music and let you all just browse through the rest of the shop with me here. And I'll show you in the end of the video what I purchased. Okay, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
city, like I said. So I saw this quilt pattern. It was Nashville. Yes, it was. It's a super easy little quilt pattern. And I thought, you know what? That is so cute. It's just super easy. And, you know, that will be precious. Easy peasy, beginner quilt. We might have to make that out of some of our boutiques that we've been collecting. So I picked that up just because it said it was Nashville. I'm about to sneeze. And then up at the register, they know how to get us to look at all their fun stuff because they have it at the register, which is their cutting table. They have the register, the cutting table, they ring it in and they cut it all in one fell swoop. Because I said, do you want me to go ahead? And because I had a buggy. Yes, you get buggies. I had a buggy and it was full and it was stacked because I don't even know how many bolts of fabric on there. And I said, do you all want to go ahead and start cutting some of this? Do you do it that way? And she said, no, we have a system. Bring it all up here at one time. Just stack it as high as you can get it. So that's what I did. I just kept stacking. So while they're doing all that, they've got all of their little things, all of your fun stuff. And they had hordes of things. They had earrings. They had jewelry. They had just so much stuff. So much stuff. And but I did see something. I thought, that would be a very, very handy little item to have. And I'm going to pick that up. And it was $7.95. No math quilt charts and formulas. Easy to use, reducing and enlarging blocks, number of block units from yardage, borders, backing, binding formulas, and more. Standard mattress and quilt sizes. Converting yards to inches to yards to decimals. Reducing and enlarging blocks. There's a big section on that. All different sizes. It's the same thing, but it's already figured for you. Corner setting triangle blocks. Diagonal block measurements. Number of quarter square triangles. Number of half square triangles from specific fabric yardage, like for a 7-inch finished triangle size, you need to cut your strip 7 7/8 inches, and you can get 40 out of a yard. So that's easy. It's really nice to have. So you're like, I need X number of these. How many yards do I need? Boom. It's already figured for you. No math. Number of squares from yardage. You can get 5 8-inch squares from a quarter of a yard. 12-inch squares, you can get 3 from a half a yard, 9 from a whole yard. Anyway, it tells you all that fun stuff. And number of squares from fat quarters. Yes, don't we all need this? Because we all love our fat quarters. And it tells you can get 2-inch squares. You can get 99 2-inch squares from a fat quarter. Isn't that wonderful? And the size of your strips from your fat quarters. Get 6 2.5-inch strips from a fat quarter. So this is a very, very, very handy little gadget that I picked up that I will be going to as I start to decide what I want to do with some of my lovely, lovely fabrics. And I'm going to show you a project we're going to do real soon in the next day or two. Oh my goodness, y'all, this is all falling on me. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay. I'm going to show you. I had this cut out a long, long time ago. No, that's not it. That is not it. Let's see. I know it's here, though. So y'all just hang tight here just a minute. Anyway, I'm just going to show you the fabrics right here. We are going to make a circle bag with this cute little stinking skunk on him. Isn't he cute? And while I was down there, I saw this zipper tape. Black striped zipper tape with nickel teeth. And I thought, you know what? That'll be perfect for this little bag because it calls for a zipper. So I got this specifically for this right here. And then, of course, as we all do, we're looking at all the little fun stuff. They had zipper pulls. They did. I'm going to see if I can open them. I got 4 of these. And they're so cute. Look at that. Can you see it? It's a little bitty sewing machine. Isn't that cute? Let's see if you can see it better if I put something solid behind it. Now then, I think you can see it better. Now you can see it good. See that little bitty sewing machine? Isn't that cute? These are by Sally Tomato. I love all her stuff too. But I got this. This is just fun stuff. Now, are y'all ready to dive into the fabric that I bought? My big stack here. Y'all ready to see what I bought? All right. They have all this stuff already prepackaged for you. And it's just fun just to stand and dig through all of their, what they called, I think it was last call fabrics, their remnants. All that. It's just a lot of fun. And I could have stopped right there and brought home a whole bunch from right there and never even gone up and down the aisles, you all. They had so much in this section. Had a lovely Christmas section, lots of Christmas fabrics. And I love Christmas. And I may order some, but I'm not ready for Christmas. I'm not even ready for Christmas sewing. I get ready for Christmas after Thanksgiving, and then if I decide I want to make something for Christmas, it gets made between Thanksgiving and Christmas, along with everything else that we have to do between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But my family has dwindled down to where we are so small. The children are grown. All this, that if it were not for Mr. Andy, we would probably just take a trip at Christmas and not do a big gift exchange thing. Okay, I had to make a phone call, and then I started back with y'all. Didn't have mic wasn't working, so I had to switch out mics and start over. Forgive me, it's chaos around my house all the time. But they have a wonderful selection down there of, when you first walk in, to your right, you've got fat quarters, you've got remnants, you've got last call pieces, you've got all kinds of kits, all kinds of treasures. I would call that their like treasure section. You know, as we walk in Target, it's the dollar section, or it used to be the dollar. Now it's the $5 and below section right there in Target. And you always have to go through there, see if there's anything that you need in there that's cheap, right? We all do it. So this is their like little grab and go section, which I love. A quilt shop with excuse me, a grab and go section. I love that. So they had some grab and go sections. First off, I got 20 2.5-inch strips, which these are jelly roll strips, and they're just various fabrics, just all kinds of stuff. Turn y'all down here just a little bit. All kinds of things. I love that one and that one. And if I can work them into Alice's quilt, I may, some of these, because they're just so pretty. You know, because like I said, I may have picked a fabric to use for one of them, and it may not go with another fabric that's close by. So I got that, and there's 20 of those, and they were $6. So that's kind of like half a jelly roll for $6. They had hordes of these, just different, just all lined up there that you could pick from. Then they have this little piece. This says from the archives, and this means, I'm guessing, it's things that are being discontinued. This says it's a piece that is 1/4 of a yard to less than the yard. And you can see it's $2. $2. So even if you've got 1/4 of a yard, you've got 2 fat quarters, which means they're $1 a piece. And you know, that's cheap. So it's these little pineapples. And I love them. They're not going one direction. They're going both directions. And I thought this would be so cute in the kitchen to make the top of a kitchen towel. All right, my next find is also from the archives, which these were the remnant pieces that they had. And y'all, they had a ton of pieces, a ton of remnants. I just kind of scratched the surface of them. This one is called Juniper. So Many Creations. Look at that cute little snail on there. Isn't that precious? That's the cute little selvage that was on this one. This was $3, and this is 9 to 35 inches. And this is right at a half a yard, you all. I measured it. It's right at a half a yard for $3. Okay? So that's, you know, 2 fat quarters for $3, $1.50 a piece. All right, now this one is right at a yard, and it says it's a yard to less than 2 yards, and it was $5. Okay, here's another $5 piece, and it says it's a yard to less than 2 yards. Well, I measured this piece, you all, and it is just maybe an inch less than 2 yards. So I got 2 yards of this for $5. And I think it's going to be so pretty to use some of these flowers in our big hip hop bunny rabbit quilt. I just think these are going to be so pretty in that. And who knows what else we might do with it, because we've got a big old piece of that one. Now then, we've got fat quarters. And fat quarters are just fun. Sometimes you just have to buy a fabric, never intending to use it, but just buy it because guess what? You just love it. So that's what I did with a couple of these. This is one right here. Look at all the fun stuff that's on it about sewing. Household sewing machine, Bountiful, Clothier, Wheeler and Wilson sewing machines. There's a spool of thread, some pins and needles, a bound buttonhole. Must first have the desired position marked with a line of basting stitches. Tells you it's just fun. And it's She Who Sews by Riley Blake. And like I said, it's just a fun fat quarter. Here's another one. I bought it because it was black and white. And I just thought, you know what? This, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but this would just be so cute. It's just airplanes, the airport. It's just travel stuff, terminals, hotels, motels, casinos, just fun stuff. I just thought it was fun. Here's another one that may go in our hip hop with those pretty flowers. And there's that one. I think I have one similar to this, maybe a different colorway already in our in our Alice's quilt. This is one that just kind of caught my eye because it wasn't real sparkly, but it does have a little metallic silver in it. And then who doesn't just love pink? And this fat quarter is the last fat quarter that I bought. But I was in Tennessee, which is where I live. Our state flower is the iris. And they had it in another colorway, but I've always loved purple and blue iris. So I had to get that. So that's all for that. And I bought some cute stickers. I thought I'd put them on something. I don't know what. But there's my state of Tennessee. They had all the states. And here's just a round one that says, I love quilting. These were like $1 or $2 or something a piece. And, you know, we're in Nashville, country music. Let's get sewing with the cowboy boot and hat. I mean, you know, we had to get that one. And this one came with the cowboy boot and hat. I don't know if that's one or two or they're individuals. I think it's just one great big sticker. But you could cut them apart if you wanted to. So I just had to get some stickers to decorate something up here, you know, just for fun. It's like I was saying, on their boutique wall, they had so many fabrics, so many fabrics. But not as many as I anticipated. They had more just quilters cotton prints. But I grabbed a couple of these because they just looked fun. And I was thinking kitchen. I don't know why I had the kitchen on my mind. I guess because I thought, Lord, I know I'll get home and that kitchen's going to be a wreck. Because I'd left Andy and the mister here, and I came in, and lo and behold, guess what? It was a wreck. And I cleaned it up real quick before I even sat down. Because I knew if I didn't, I wouldn't get back up. I was pooped. I was all pooped out. But this one I thought was just so much fun. Look at this boutique. Isn't that fun? $5 a yard. $5 a yard. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Here's another one. You can't go wrong with it. $5 a yard. I wish I had had more time and more money down there. I will definitely be going back. Every time I go to Nashville now, I will be going to this quilt shop. Stitcher's Garden is the name of it, right here. Stitcher's Garden. You see that? I will be going back every time I go to Nashville. Because there was just so much stuff. Here again, kitchen. I love that. And I have these towels. I've got blue towels. Right here. It's not Christmas yet. He's all excited for Christmas, y'all. I just think that'll make such a pretty little hanger for these towels in my kitchen. And who knows, I may put some of these on. I don't know. But anyway, I've got these towels I've had for a long time to do something with that I never did. So there you go. And this is the Tula Pink. I've got another piece of this. I didn't have quite enough to make the top I wanted to make out of this. So, and my quilt shop was out of it, so I grabbed me another yard of that. So we can get that top made maybe tomorrow. Here are a couple of these were in the Christmas section. This can be used year-round. It's just a red and white plaid. And I want to say maybe I think the rest of these were $8 a yard. The Tula Pink was like $14.95 a yard. That's what it is everywhere. It never goes on sale anywhere ever. So there you go. The rest of this stuff was either $5 or $8 a yard. Everything else I got. I know. Prices were unreal. But this can be used year-round. Just red and white plaid. And I thought this one was pretty. It could be used. These to me said summer, these little plaids. And there again, dish towel toppers or, whatever. Now that we're going to get into our florals that we're going to put some of, all of, I don't know, into our Alice's Wonderland quilt. I had been looking. There's one particular fabric that I just could not find anything. I think it's B1. I'm going to flip over here and find my chart here, and I'll tell you. But I believe it is B1.
Do you want to go with our Christmas tree farm?
No, it's not time for Christmas yet. We'll go at Christmas. Go on downstairs. Mom's going to come down and finish supper in just a minute. B1. Its name is Betsy's. B. And it's a white background with red and yellow and Kelly green. And I saw this and I went, oh, I have to have this. This is Alice's quilt. So there you go. This one, that's a half a yard piece. This is a yard piece. That means it was $5 for the whole yard because I couldn't get just a half a yard.
The free Christmas.
Okay, I've got Mr. Andy settled. This was a whole yard. So it means it was $5 a yard. Okay? Because if it was $5 a yard, you had to buy at least a yard. Okay? So that's what this one was. This is another one that was $5 a yard. And this will go in Alice's because there was one particular one that's white and got little tiny red buds on it that I think this will work with. And that's D2. I don't know, but I'm hoping that it will. Here's another one that I thought might be pretty in Alice's. I don't know which one particular one, if I even had one in mind to use, but I thought all these would go. Here's a navy blue with white. Y'all, I looked everywhere. There's one particular fabric that's white. It's supposed to have little tiny navy blue flowers. I've not found one anywhere. So I just reversed it and thought if we go navy with white, maybe that'll work. I don't know. Here's another one of these. This is a half yard piece. So that means it was $8 a yard. So these were $4 pieces. I mean, that's just about cheaper than a fat quarter some places. Here's another one. Y'all, I don't know what the make of all these are. Here's another one. This is a whole yard piece, and this is a Nana May. I can tell just by feeling of it. Yes, and it's got those. But I love all these Nana May prints. Here's another one. This is a yard piece. So these were $5 a yard. $5 a yard. Here's another one. I can tell this one's a yard piece. I do not have any idea what this one is. Here's another one. This is a half yard piece, but I thought that was so pretty. I do not know if it'll go in Alice's quilt or not. It might. I've already got this one chosen for Alice's quilt, but it was $5 a yard. I got another whole yard of that. These are some half yard pieces. This will go in Alice's somewhere, I remember. Here's another one. Is that not pretty? I just think all these are so pretty. This is Flower Show Sunrise. Celeste, Chelsea Flower, Liberty Fabrics. It's a Liberty fabric. Here's another one. They'll probably go in Alice's. You all, I just had so much fun. This is why I don't like my fabric to be torn. Do y'all see this? I have a mess of strings. And before I put this up, I will come in here and have to cut each piece. I don't like that. Like I said, not that I would stop shopping there because I will go back because their process are so good. But it just makes your fabric ravel and it just makes it a mess. So I don't like that. But I think these are so, and I did need something very similar to this, so I knew that one would go in Alice's. The same with this one. There's one in here that's very much like this. Here's another one. There's a couple more of these. I got this other one. Let's see, where's it? Here's the yellow. These are all the same one, just 3 different colorways. And here's one that might use for the white with the navy blue flowers. Kind of what this one is. I'm not a big fan of it, but there probably won't be a whole lot in the quilt, so we may use it. Here's this one. And then here's this one. These are my yard pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them that were yards, and then, or maybe that one's a yard. That one might be a yard. 10 yards for $50. I know. That looks like that's a yard piece. Now the rest of these I think are half yards. But y'all look at all my fabric I got. There's my fat quarters. There's my big 2-yard piece. then here's our jelly roll strips, our stickers, our patterns, our books. Look at all this stuff that I got. I mean, and I'm going to tell y'all how much I spent. You're not going to believe it. You are not going to believe it. For everything that I got here, all of this. I probably got 20 yards of fabric at least, maybe more. And all these patterns and doodads and all this stuff for all of this. All of these things here. All the fabrics, everything. $250. Can you believe it? I was like prepared for her to tell me $500 or $600 when I checked out. I'm thinking, oh dear Lord, do I even go home? He will kill me. He will kill me. And then he will have to raise that poor boy by himself. He's going to kill me when I get home. And I was worried to death. And she said, no. She said, she told me my total. And I went, oh, shoo. I thought you were going to tell me it was $700 or something like that. And I was about to have a heart attack and fall over dead right here on your floor. Because I just thought I thought I cannot go home. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to live in this truck forever. And I don't even have a blanket. I'll have to stitch this together by hand. Maybe I'll have enough money to buy me a spool of thread and a needle to make me a quilt by hand so I have something to sleep under. Because I was scared to death that I was going to be murdered when I got back home. But he doesn't know how much I spent until he watches this video. So you all might want to say a prayer for me that when he watches this video that I get to make more videos, because I might be murdered. No, he won't say anything. I'm just kidding. He's not going to hurt me. He would not hurt me. I shouldn't say all that stuff on here. Somebody might call the police. No, he's not going to hurt me. He does not care. As long as I have the money in my pocket to pay for it, he does not care what I spend. Now, when I don't have the money in my pocket and I end up going, I need some money, he'll say, you should not have spent it all on fabric. But that's all kind of beside the point right now. The fabric's here. I can't return it because you cannot return stuff there. Which I don't know anybody that would buy fabric and then want to return it. I mean, why would you want to return it? I don't know. That maybe some people do. I don't know. I was trying to save that sticker, but I cannot get it off of that bag. I cannot get these stickers off. Maybe I can get this one off. No, it doesn't have any sticky on it, so I have to throw them away. All right, well, this was my fabric haul for the month. I probably will not be fabric shopping again for several weeks because we're going to have to do something with everything I've bought because I can't just go shop. I know, isn't that sad that we can't just go shopping all the time? I know, it's so sad. So you all have a good day, a good time watching the rest of my videos. I hope you enjoyed our tour through the fabric store. Yes, I did. I would love to be able to go back and just tour it again and again and again. They had a whole big color wall that was nothing. Everything on it was $5 a yard. I didn't even pull anything from that wall because I had too much already. So I'm going to try to see where these will fit into Alice's Wonderland quilt. And I hope I have all of my fabrics. I just hope that I do. And I'm going to try to see kind of if my fabrics are going to play well together. I don't know. If they don't, you know what that means. We have to buy more fabric. I know. But I'm doing very well with my list This is all I had left, were just these. And I need some more pinks. But I'll figure it out between now and January. This is August. So I've got the rest of August, September, October, November, and December. I've got 4 months to finalize my fabrics for this before we get started. And some of you all ask about cutting them out. Go ahead. Go for it. If you've got all your stuff and you want to go ahead and start cutting them, I am going to cut all of mine out first before we ever start sewing. And I will kind of guide you all through that a little bit in a video, but I will come up here and sit at night and cut, or on a snowy day that I can't do anything else, and I will just get all of mine cut just like I did our Tula quilt blocks. And y'all, we've got to finish that up. I've got to finish that one. But about cutting this, if you go on the Alice Caroline's website, this Alice's Wonderland quilt, you've got, this is free. It's the cutting diagram. It's a big bunch of pages. It's 100 and some pages to print out. But you can print this out and go ahead and have your pieces already cut. And go ahead and start cutting, because it tells you right here, you take fabric A1, and these are the pieces that you cut out of that particular fabric. A2, you cut this right here. A3, A4, it tells you exactly what to cut, okay? So you can go ahead and get that cut. Like I said, that is free. You just have to go on her website, add it to your cart, check out. You don't have to pay anything, and you can download that as well as your amendments to this quilt book, because you will need that as well, because they found some mistakes in the original printing. And you can go in there and change those in your book. I did. So I hope y'all enjoyed our little field trip, our outing, our fabric haul. Yes, I know. And I've got these beautiful little kitchen towels right here. I've got to fix the little loopy loops for my daughter, for her and her kitchen. And I'll come up with something pretty for that. I think I've got a pretty boutique or something up there that's just very subtle. That's kind of what they're going for. Neutrals and naturals in their little apartment that they have. Her and a friend. So that'll be nice. Just this little nice housewarming gift I'm sending her. I'm sending to them. So I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.